everyone. My name is Haley Yazbek, and I'm on the staff. I'm one of the staff at Faith in the Working. This is my third message in the series called Schooled, where I am talking about friendships that please the Lord. I last addressed the aspect of love, and I'm now moving on to forgiveness. Forgiveness means to pardon someone from something that they've done to you, or have done just in general. When you forgive, you shouldn't hold on to the past, but let go of it and move on to the future. Whatever happened between you and your friend is over. By asking for forgiveness, your friend is trying to tell you that they're sorry and want a second chance. In the Bible, there's so many examples of forgiveness. One of them comes from the book of John. In these passages, Peter, one of Jesus' disciples, denies Jesus, but still, Jesus forgives him. I'm going to start in John 18:15 for those who want to follow along. It says, Simon Peter and another disciple were following Jesus. Because this disciple was known to the high priest, he went with Jesus into the high priest's court. Before I go any further, this is just after Jesus was arrested in the Garden of Gethsemane. So I'm going to continue. But Peter had to wait outside at the door. The other disciple, who was known to the high priest, came back and spoke to the girl on duty there and brought Peter in. "You are not one of the disciples, are you?" the girl asked at the door. He replied, "I am not." Now I'm going to jump to John 18:25. As Simon Peter stood, warming himself, he was asked, "You are not one of his disciples, are you?" He denied it, saying, "I am not." One of the high priest's servants, a relative of the man whose ear Peter had cut off, challenged him. "Didn't I see you with him in the olive grove?" Again, Peter denied it. And at that moment, the rooster began to crow. Here we see 3 times that Peter denied Jesus. Peter denied that he knew Jesus. As Jesus was led by his accusers, he gave Peter a look. And that look said, "I knew you would deny me, and I forgive you." Some people may think, well, why would Jesus forgive him? Peter totally denied Jesus. The answer to that is that Jesus is called to forgive. And he wants to forgive. He wants to have a relationship with all these people. And that reflects back onto our friendships. If you want to have a relationship with your friends, you need to learn to forgive. As I said in my first message, forgiveness is not an easy thing to do. It really takes a lot of courage to humble yourself and say, it's okay that you wronged me. And once you do that, you'll find that it's easier every time. Don't think that you're such a great person and that you don't deserve to be wronged. Being wronged, it's something that hurts. It does. But you have to overlook it. If your friend asks you to forgive them, then by all means forgive them. They're asking you for a second chance. They want to prove to you that they can and will try to be in this relationship, and they will try to be your friend, and they will try to love you as you should love them. And the same goes for the other side of the argument. Let's just say that you wrong your friend. You have to ask for forgiveness. This too takes a great amount of strength to say, I was wrong, and I'm sorry. Many people, including myself, have an issue with this. You don't want to admit that you're wrong. It's not an easy thing. Because as human beings, we are born into sin, and pride is a type of sin. And that is something that gets in the way of us asking for forgiveness. But once you ask your friend for forgiveness once, it'll get easier every time. And your friend is going to forgive you. If they are a true friend, they will recognize that the friendship you had was genuine. And they won't want to give that up for anything. They're definitely going to give you a second chance. Once you've been forgiven or forgiven someone else, your relationship may not go back to the way it was immediately, but soon enough, depending on what happened, it'll get back to normal. And when you forgive someone and they forgive you, you feel this sense of relief that your friend is true to you and they want to be your friend no matter what. And when you feel that, it will motivate you to try and do better. Or it'll motivate you if they ask for your forgiveness to forgive them. Because you see that they are being loyal to you and they want your friendship. Friendships are very, very valuable. Don't lose one because you're too prideful and hard-hearted to not forgive someone, or because you don't want to ask for forgiveness because of your pride. Believe me, if you forgive, you'll be so glad that you did. And if you ask to be forgiven, it'll just soften your heart so much. If you forgive, you will in turn be forgiven. Don't put a friendship at stake because something went on. Nothing is too big to be forgiven. There's no limit to the amount of times you should be forgiven or forgive. God forgives us because He wants a relationship with us. He wants us to love Him and He wants us to know Him. And we are sinners. And we shouldn't be able to know Him because He is holy. But He forgives us. In the same sense, we need to forgive others because we need to build relationships with everyone. So, I read a verse in my very first message when I talked about forgiveness briefly. It was Colossians 3:13. It says, "Bear with each other and forgive whatever grievances you may have against one another. Forgive as the Lord forgave you." And I want to ask that you would all just work on this, and including myself. I often struggle with this too. And I just want to end with that verse. Forgive as the Lord forgave you. Thank you everyone for listening. And I pray that your day will be as great as mine is right now.